Hello, good morning, GCA Church. It's so good to be here. You know, we had a videographer come and volunteer with us for about 3 months, and he produced the videos you'll be seeing, and we're so grateful. And in fact, when I watch that, I think, wow, that's a miracle, because it's all God. It's not us. You know, it's such an honor to be here. It's so good. For those of you who don't know us, we're Darren and Minako. We've been serving in Cambodia for, I say 10, he says 11 years. Anyways, we run several social enterprises that you saw there, where the extreme poor, we hire the extreme poor, are hired to train in sewing, welding, fishing, along with other skills. But more importantly, taught about Jesus through daily devotions. That's what we want to do most. And that's what we do in all the business ministries that we're doing. We're using business as a way to reach the lost and broken. Today, I want to talk about something that is at the heart of Christian life, something that ties faith, work, and obedience to God, and that is righteous risk. Those in business understand risk. It's part of the job, right? But righteous risk, it's different. We watched a video series by faith-driven entrepreneurs, and they talked about how it's not about profit, about growing fast. It's about being faithful. It's about stepping into the unknown because you trust the caller more than you trust the cost, more than you fear the cost. The Bible is full of those who take risks. Abraham left his home to follow God. Moses gave up his palace to lead his people. David is a youth who stood before Goliath with only a sling and his faith. Ordinary people called by God to do extraordinary things. And he can do that through anybody. I'm just telling you, because if he could do it through us, he can do it through you guys too. You know, Ephesians 4:1 says, I urge you to live a life worthy of the calling you have received. Every believer, every person here that is a Christian has a calling. What is your calling? So ours was to create dignified work for the poor and teach them about Jesus. And for us, it happened through a sewing center. The funny part is, as you probably know, I don't sew. How is this possible? But God provided, and we said yes. And years later, we've seen firsthand what obedience is, even shaky obedience can do. We started small. It was 7 women, and then 13, and then came an order from Samaritan's Purse, and suddenly we had 25 women. And that order became our turning point, a chance to see if we could really sustain a real factory setting. But it came with risks. The profit margins was tiny, shipping and customs were expensive, and our monthly costs were high because we're trying to give back to our employees as much as we can. And if anything went wrong, we really could have been sunk. But God was faithful. You know, when risk becomes faith, that's when it really counts. This past January, was we were on the plane flying back to Cambodia, we received an email from Samaritan's Purse saying that they wouldn't be putting an order from us this year, and we'll see, but maybe never. It was really hard to take. So I told our ladies, and they began praying for orders every day. But you know what? That's the important thing. They were praying and trusting God. And we were able to stay open even when the numbers didn't make sense. Furthermore, I felt God telling me to have a no layoff policy. So how do you do this? But how do we keep paying people with no income? And again, but if I let them go, would they go back to scavenging again? A lot of our ladies, they faced domestic violence when they weren't working. Imagine. So it's really cool that when they had work, their husbands were nicer to them. And here's one of our ladies. This is Renoich, and I just want to play her video. I think.
ជំរាបសួរខ្ញុំឈ្មោះព្រំសៃណុចខ្ញុំនៅសង្កាត់ស្រុកក្រាមកូនខេត្តសៀមរាបខ្ញុំមានកូន3នាក់ស្រី2ប្រុស1កាលពីខ្ញុំទៅចាប់ផ្ដើមមករហូតដល់ខ្ញុំគ្រូសាខ្ញុំធ្វើបាបគាត់អត់ឲ្យលុយខ្ញុំចាយគាត់ធ្វើបាបខ្ញុំ5 7សាផងហើយក៏ចាប់ផ្ដើមរហូតដល់កូនខ្ញុំមានសាលារៀនអង្គការមួយដែលគាត់យកគាត់ទៅរៀន ប៉ះអង្គការដែលគាត់ល្អមែនទែនវាគាត់ក៏បានរៀនព្រះគម្ពីរគាត់ណែនាំយើងឲ្យដើរផ្លូវល្អ ក៏ខ្ញុំចាប់ផ្ដើមក្នុងមួយខែខ្ញុំទៅប្រជុំម្ដងគឺគាត់អាចថានៅពួកនារីដែលគាត់ទៅបើកដូចជាអំណោយឲ្យអញ្ចឹងក៏មានដំណឹងពីអ្នកគ្រូគាត់ប្រាប់ថាព្រះយេស៊ូវល្អព្រះយេស៊ូវបានឲ្យផ្លូវយើងដើរត្រូវគិតខ្លួនឯងថាថ្ងៃណាមួយខ្ញុំមានក្តីសង្ឃឹមមានផ្លូវមួយនឹងល្អអត់ដែលគេគ្រូសាស្ត្រគឺបាក់មិនហូបហើយខ្ញុំតែងតែនៅផ្ទះអត់មានអីហូបកូនពេលដែលកូនកើតមកគាត់អត់ដែលមករកខ្ញុំជាប្រពន្ធទេគាត់ធ្វើបាបខ្ញុំគាត់តែងតែរករឿងខ្ញុំដែលខ្ញុំនៅផ្ទះសរសៃខ្ចីគាត់ធ្វើបាបខ្ញុំក៏ខ្ញុំមានស្គាល់សាលារៀនដែលកូនរៀនគាត់ដើរតាមផ្លូវព្រះអង្គក្នុងមួយថ្ងៃហ្នឹងខ្ញុំគិតថាថ្ងៃហ្នឹងខ្ញុំអស់អង្គហើយអត់ដឹងថាពីពឹងអ្នកណាទេដល់ចៃតាមអីថ្ងៃហ្នឹងឯងអ្នកគ្រូហៅទៅបើកអង្គគាត់ក៏និយាយប្រាប់ខ្ញុំថាបើបងឯងនៅផ្ទះបើឯងមានការងារមានកន្លែងរោងចក្រមួយគេរើសបុគ្គលិកក៏អ្នកគេរើសយកអ្នកអត់ចេះក៏ចេះមិនចេះក៏គេយកដែរខ្ញុំក៏រត់សម្រេចចិត្តថាទៅកូនចោលហើយទៅរកការងារនឹងធ្វើដើម្បីជួយជីវភាពទៅក៏ខ្ញុំជួបអស្ចារ្យមែនទែនបងអង្គជ្រាបពីជីវិតរបស់ខ្ញុំក៏កាត់ឲ្យខ្ញុំធូរធាតដល់ខ្ញុំបានស្គាល់អង្គការមួយគឺបងនគរហើយខ្ញុំក៏ទៅនឹងធ្វើការខ្ញុំអត់ចេះអីទាំងអស់គេបានគឺបើកទៅព្រះគម្ពីរមកអានខ្ញុំអត់ចេះអក្សរពេលខ្ញុំបានទៅធ្វើការនៅនឹងមានបងធ្វើការនៅនឹងក៏តែងតែណែនាំខ្ញុំបរៀនខ្ញុំឲ្យប្រកបអានអក្សរពីផ្លូវព្រះអង្គបរៀនខ្ញុំជ្រាបមិនប្រាប់ខ្ញុំមិនហើយរួចឡើងមកខ្ញុំក៏បានមានទឹកចិត្តថាទៅធ្វើការឈប់គិតពីគ្រួសាររបស់ខ្ញុំឲ្យខ្ញុំមានហូបអីហូបគ្រប់គ្រាន់ឲ្យកូនរៀនបានខ្ពង់ខ្ពស់រងថ្ងៃខ្ញុំសប្បាយចិត្តត្រង់ថាទោះខ្ញុំមានឧបសគ្គអីក៏ដោយខ្ញុំអាចថាគាត់ក៏គិតជ្រាបទាំងអស់រហូតដល់ខ្ញុំឈប់គិតពីគ្រួសាររបស់ខ្ញុំអាចធ្វើបានដែលគេធ្វើបាបខ្ញុំដែលគេធ្លាប់ប្រោមពើងស្រាយខ្ញុំគេធ្លាប់វាយខ្ញុំតាមផ្លូវខ្ញុំអាចប្រភ្លេចបានភាសាពីខ្ញុំយកព្រះអង្គខ្ញុំអាចថាទៅព្រះអង្គឲ្យព្រះអង្គលាងសម្អាតចិត្តខ្ញុំកុំឲ្យខ្ញុំអរគុណព្រះអង្គដែលព្រះអង្គរកកូនយកទៅព្យាបាលចិត្តអរគុណ
She's a real sweetheart, actually. Yeah, when I watch that, I'm touched too. You know, and she was baptized last year. It's how can I take people like that and lay them off? I can't. Ephesians 2:4-6 reminds us, be completely humble and patient, humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love, one Lord, one faith, one baptism. You know, we decided we're in this all together, and everyone agreed to take a shortened work week if we needed to do pay cuts. So instead of laying anybody off, we'll just work a 4-day work week, and everyone just has a slightly reduced salary. But you know what? We didn't have to do that. We talked about it, and we told them all from the very beginning this might happen, and we didn't, because God provided through people like yourselves. I don't know if you recall, but last year we asked for prayer regarding a road to our new sewing center, and it looked like this. It was a cow path. Well, we had some friends that responded that they could come that past January. The cost was about 16,000 US that we would have to pay. And although I was nervous about spending the funds when we didn't have work, we did it anyways, and it was a beautiful road. Like, it has to be able to take a semi-trailer truck for big orders. But then after that, someone donated towards it. It's God provides always. And then orders came in. There was the school uniforms from Montessori School in Edmonton. There were curtains that we made for a high school that was opening. There were polo shirts and gym sets from a Cambodian school, international school that we did. Every time, God made a way for it to happen, because God built his church through his people. He does. Last year, someone asked us if we could make a beekeeper suit. So we made a sample, ta-da, over there. And there's my husband. You know, he makes a way. And last year also, another person asked if we could, or another man found an insulating material that would work well in a winter jacket. So he made one as shown in this picture, and he sent it to us. And here's another copy of one that we have. And he asked us if Our Ladies could make it. And I thought, you know, it has 8 pockets, inner mesh, outerwear. It has the arm zipper. It has heat regulation. It talked about magnetic fronts and like RFID, like Reco, search and rescue, all these things. And I thought, yeah, he talked about this insulating fabric that was great for the jackets. And I thought, that's really hard. And I thought, can we make this? No, I don't think we can make this. But I didn't want to say no because, you know, we're looking. And maybe this is what God was calling to, so I just stayed quiet. But you know, I want everything that God makes for Our Ladies to have quality. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for men. And Paul redefines all work as worship when it's done for the Lord. It's wholehearted devotion to God, expressing love through our labor. And there's another verse. Do you see a man skilled in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before obscure men. Work done with excellence is a form of worship. Skill and diligence are rewarded with honor. In a biblical culture, working with excellence reflects the image of God, the ultimate creator and worker. So could Our Ladies make a quality jacket? That was the question. Thankfully, God had also sent a lady who was called to share her gifts in sewing. You might recognize her, some of her. Leanna Ma is her name, and she worked in sewing factories for 40 years. And she used to work for Canada Goose, making high-end winter jackets that sold for $1,200. So with her help, we attempted to make the first one out of jean fabric, and it was like this. It was 2 meters worth of pattern. And then this is when the first sample was done, and that's Leanna right there, when it was about 70% done. And then after that, they made the real thing. They made the real jacket, and they did it on their own without her help. That was really cool. And I'm proud to say they did it. You know, with God's help, he brought the right people. And this is me. Okay, the other person was me inside the jacket. And this is Tim. Yeah, so this is Tim. He's the one who helped design the jacket. He's an outdoorsy guy. And, you know, and he wants his jackets to bring meaning. So what's cool is he wants his jacket to be about bringing life by rescuing hikers from the storm and also rescuing ladies out of poverty. And to be fully transparent about the purpose of the jacket, he's saying he really wants it to be able to bless Our Ladies. And so the actual cost of it is, so we have it on sale right now for $7.99. He wants it to be about $1,000. The fabric and things like that to make the jacket's about $200. He wants Our Ladies to earn about $200 per jacket, and then $200 he wants to be able to use it as a donation. So then actually you would be purchasing it through us, and then we can issue you a tax receipt for $200 for it as well. So, you know, Francis Schaeffer once said, it's to the degree that we do our work well that we have the opportunity to witness and be heard. Our Ladies who were thrown away, who scavenged, or worse, for a living, are being redeemed by Jesus and helping them see their skills and talents that they have. And now they're making these high-end jackets that can save lives. You know what? If anyone wants a jacket, please come see me. Yeah. The ministry belongs to God, and it runs because God is calling his people. Would you like to be part of this ministry with us? It's not ours. And at some point in time, we want to be able to give it all back to the Cambodian people and have them own it, and then they can help their own people. We need more workers. We need more work. If you have any ideas, bee suit or whatever, come see us. We have a daycare we talked about last year. Right now it has 2 kids, 2 babies from our staff. There's a 3rd one that's coming. She just gave birth in September, so in about 3 months she'll be coming back to work. And it's neat because it's right next door. They can just help the baby whenever they like. And we have another lady who's pregnant. So it's neat. We love that they're able to continue to have kids, and we can help them with that. And then there's the cost of silkscreen printing. It's kind of expensive if you feel called to that. You know, we also want to build our own place. You might know this, where more the poor and marginalized can find hope and healing. And that's some of our needs. But if God is calling you somewhere else, please follow the calling that God has given on your hearts. You know, wherever he's calling you, it will require righteous risk. And I would encourage you to take that step, because when you follow him, miracles happen. Because I find what's happening to us is a miracle. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. In fact, if you knew us better, you might think, why them? So.
You know, when it comes to thinking about how we can serve God in our work, or how we can use our gifts and our passions to serve, most Christians don't really know what to think. The good news is that the Bible has a lot to say about our calling as entrepreneurs, and it's a lot more than just how to sneak in evangelistic conversations. Consider this: the majority of parables that Jesus taught revolved around the workplace context. So as an entrepreneur, if you feel overlooked or ignored by the church, I want you to understand that what you do, where you do, matters. You are a co-creator with God. You've got a unique call to be a cultural change agent within your community through the business that God is empowering you to lead, to work at, to be a part of, the community that you're a part of. You know, when we started Made for This Fabrication, we envisioned a simple welding shop, 4 guys, that would teach some basic skills to a group of men who were trapped in grueling, life-sucking poverty. And that has left them powerless, unenthusiastic about the future, essentially without hope that anything would ever change in their lifetime. But before we began, we prayed and we said, Lord, you own this business. We dedicate all that we do here to seeing your kingdom come in this country of Cambodia. We will obediently walk through every door that you open on the path to what lies in front of us. And so we started with 4 men studying God's word, and it grew. And soon we were making trailers and playground equipment and furniture for the king of Cambodia, and fish farm equipment. And eventually, we launched our own fish farms, as you saw from the video. We have 3 farms now. The fact that we knew nothing about what we were doing didn't seem to slow us down. I knew nothing about fish farming. I don't even like fish. You know, the more God brought into our world, the more we leaned into him, and the more it became possible. And families in the community were healing. And this is the fun part. This family in particular was a brother and sister of the following family. Where is it? Yes, of this family. And they prayed for their brother, and he was healed. And then they led them to church, and then they became believers. And it was all because everybody else around them had given up on them. They were in a terrible accident and were injured, and the sister came along and said, I want to pray for you. There's this hope that I have. And as a result, it was transforming, and the families began to change, and they began to believe and began to accept that there was somebody who cared about them. There was hope for the future. And so families in the community were healing and inviting Jesus into their lives. Relationships between husbands and wives and children were being restored. You know, it's interesting. Development organizations started showing up and asking us to build things for them. And as we continued to dedicate our work and business to God, more kept pouring in. And we've had some ups and downs with some of our farms running out of water, kind of critical for a fish farm. Dry season, rainy season, we run out of water once in a while. Disease amongst the fish, cash flow challenges. When we're growing as fast as we are, we run into challenges. But this is a solar dryer designed for drying fish, fruit, and vegetables, and it's going to become part of our future. And we built this. It's on our property now to allow us to expand and grow. But now, at the end of almost 6 years of operation, we've been in Cambodia for 11. We started our businesses about 7 years ago, the sewing center, and then 6 years ago, the fish farms. But we find ourselves at a unique time and place. The Cambodian government has a major push on to develop capacity of agriculture and aquaculture in the country. They're a small country, about 17 million people, but regional struggles, some of you may have heard about with their neighbors, Thailand and border conflict, they're causing substantial food security and safety problems. The technology we have developed for our farms has received a lot of attention from government officials. And they are asking us to accelerate our growth and developments to meet the need. Yet still, when they come to visit, we're keen to tell them about why we're doing what we're doing and bringing hope and transformation to the poor communities around us. And they are hearing the gospel, and they are seeing it lived out in the lives of our workers who are being baptized and testifying to the goodness of God. Here in this picture, this is the Deputy Minister of Aquaculture. He phoned me up one Saturday morning and said, "Hey, can I come over and visit?" I said, "Sure, I'll be there shortly." So I showed up with what I was wearing, and he showed up with a TV crew. And we were on national television. And here I am standing with a Clothed in Dignity shirt that says, it's displaying Hebrews 6:19. It says, "We have this hope as an anchor of the soul, for our soul firm and secure." National television. We couldn't have asked for this and gotten this, but God knew what he was doing. So as I stand and look out at the beginning of what's to unfold in the years ahead, I'm again humbled and again see how God is using two ordinary people to impact a country of hurting people who are coming to fall in love with Jesus. Here's what we see God doing with the community of former scavengers from the Siem Reap garbage dump. As you've heard, a company is asking us to produce these $800 winter jackets and a whole clothing line after that to go with it. You've heard of Yeti coolers and Yeti wear, etc. This is supposed to be superior in quality and performance, so it's up and coming. So you heard us talk about, and Minako talked about again, starting to build a factory to invite 500 workers to come into the community. We hope to break ground on that this year and begin to build the first of the buildings. We're establishing 2 water filtration systems to support over 10,000 people in 2 different communities.
We've already raised support.
Yeah, the support has been raised and we're about to build those. This picture, I'd like to introduce you to our newest 3rd farm. We're renting but haven't yet started building on. This farm is 6 acres, or 6 hectares in size, 15 acres of water, 10 meters deep. It's useless as a fish pond because you can't get the nets low enough to get all the fish out once you put the fish in and grow them. So this pond has sat empty for 15 years because they couldn't do anything with it. And we discovered it as we were looking to expand, and all of a sudden we have this beautiful new space that is, on our other farms we raise about 200,000 fish. But over the next 5 years, if plans go as we're forecasting, we're going to be raising over 1 million fish and over 3 million vegetables and spices every year at this facility. A $5 to $10 million operation made possible simply just because God has reserved places like this, introduced us to people, opened up doors, and simply because we said, yes, Lord, we will follow you wherever you lead. This farm will employ a lot of people and will provide food security and both inside the country and for export. So we have a lot to look forward to. You know, we are about 50 staff now between us. About 20 are baptized and more to come. We know there are more believers amongst them that haven't yet made the commitment to be baptized, but they're coming. We have, you know, as many as 10 teams a year that come to visit. This church has come to visit us, but we've had many others. For example, we had this team come from Calgary, and they worked with us to reach out to youth in the community. And as a result, they are interested in coming back to continue to serve. So, next slide, please. We're seeing more workers and more interns coming to join us in the work and to be a part of what God is doing. You know, we're two ordinary people that simply decided to put our full faith in God. And we dedicated our businesses, our relationships, and everything we do as if we were doing it unto Him. And we let Him lead us along the pathway and to the activities that He's working on as He invites us to participate with Him. It's not us doing anything. It's just simply us following along. Friends, this is not just a witness to what God has done. This is a call for you in your families, in your communities, in your workplace, in the world, to join Him in what He is already doing. He is moving in the hearts and the minds of our brothers and sisters around the world. And He wants to be moving in you as well, calling you to take all that you have and to lean into Him, to become all that He has designed you to be.